Okay. All right. So today we're going to be working on kind of putting together what we've talked about the last couple of weeks, and we're going to be making a plan. Okay. This is an approach you need to take on every hand that you declare, and to a certain extent, you do the same thing on defense, and we'll talk about that in the last week. But what we're going to do is, I've got some hands here. I'm going to do a few so that we kind of get a routine going. There are lots of different routines. I mean, you kind of organize this stuff so it works for you, but um, the things that we're going to talk about are the basics and the things that everyone does to one extent or another. Now, is everybody only seeing the south hand right now? I think I have the teaching table set so you can only see south. Great, because I think that'll help in terms of trying to put the plan together. So um, let's start. So I have 7, 12, 6, 18 points. One thing I suggest is that you always name your hand. Right? When you first start out, name your hand. Is it balanced? Is it unbalanced? Is it semi-balanced? Is it a single suitor hand? Is it a two-suited hand? And then also, in addition to the distribution, try to identify the strength. Is it a maximum hand? Is it an invitational hand? Or is it a minimum hand? And these, by naming it, it will kind of get your auction off to the right start. So I have 18 was what I said. 7, 5 is 12, 6, 18. I have a very good unbalanced hand, right? I'm 4, 5, 4, 4. It's going to be really easy to bid because of that, but I'm anticipating that with very little help, we can get to game. In fact, I'm thinking about opening it two clubs. I've got the Ace of Hearts, the King of Hearts, and the Ace of Spades, so that's the Ace of Diamonds. So that is four winners off the top, and if I don't have four quick losers, right, four that they can take off the top, I sometimes like to open these as two clubs when they're maximum, and I think I'm going to do that. So we got a double. So apparently the clubs are to my left. I really don't care about that since I don't have any. If I had a partner who had some, I may want to show that void sometime or use it somehow. But since I'm bidding with the robot, probably going to have to go kind of slow at this. I'm going to bid spades first because I have 5. And my partner has at least 3 spades. Now, they didn't go straight to 4 spades, and because the robot would do that with a really weak hand, I can assume the robot actually has some values over there. So what I'll do now is I will show them an ace. The robot only shows first round controls, and I'll do that by showing an ace. I don't know that I want to show the clubs because that'll be a little confusing for the robot. He's going to think a club bid is an ace when it's actually a void. Yeah, and that was enough to. I thought he had values, so that was enough to get him started on this, or her. I don't actually know the gender of this particular robot. I'm going to answer by showing an odd number of key cards. The key cards here are the Ace of Hearts, the Ace of Spades, and the Ace of Diamonds. So I have 3. I'm going to show 3 of them, an odd number, and I'm going to show the void the by bidding 6 clubs, and that'll show a void in the club suit. And that's enough for my partner, and we go to 6 spades. Now, one of the things I do immediately is I just count. Okay, I count first. I count the points that we have together. Right, he did have 6, 8, and I had 18, so we have 26 points. So there are 14 points between the defenders. We had a double in West. Might be a sign that West has some points. We know he has the clubs because he doubled an artificial bid. So if we give him close to opening hand, I think that's reasonable. So maybe East has 8 points. So I just kind of count the points around the board. The next thing I do is kind of try to count the distribution around the board, which is surprisingly easy. And the other thing is once you get in the habit of doing these, it goes very fast and you find yourself just in the habit of doing it whether you need to do it or not. Here I have the thing that interests me most is that my partner has more spades than I do. He's got 6, I have 5. There's only 2 spades out. The clubs are mostly in West's hand, but maybe 6, 5 or 6 for certain. But that would mean, even if he has 6, that means East has clubs as well. So I really don't need to worry. I'm going to be roughing clubs maybe. I don't know yet. I haven't made a plan, but I don't need to worry about them roughing clubs. I think they probably have at least 5, 4, 5, 5, 3 or 6, 4, 3. So there's a lot of clubs out there. I'm not planning on taking any club tricks. So the next thing I do then is count my losers, right? We counted points, we counted distribution, I count my losers. I have a spade loser, the king of spades. I'm counting the dummy, right? Because the dummy has the long trumps. I have a spade loser, the king of spades, could be offsides. I don't have any heart losers. I have 3 club losers, and I don't have any diamond losers. So what I then, after doing that, I try. The next thing that's important to do is to decide, well, how do we get rid of our losers? And for each suit, I just kind of look at it and think, okay, well, the clubs, I could get rid of them 2 different ways. One, I could rough all the clubs. And 2, I could put clubs on winners in the dummy, right? Because I'm going to have a diamond winner. It'll be, I take the king in my hand, I can lead later to the ace, and then I'll have the queen of diamonds. So I could put a club on a diamond as well. And I don't have any heart losers. So I know going into this hand that I have 2 ways to get rid of the clubs. I could rough a couple of them, and then I could put one on a diamond. So that's my plan. And I think it's really important to say this plan out loud when you're at home by yourself in your bedroom, and at the table to at least say it in your head, right? Which is, I'm going to put my club losers, I'm going to rough 2 of them, and I'm going to put one on a diamond, right? So at that point, I think, okay, well, what can go wrong? You kind of have a broad idea of what your plan is. Do you see any problems with it? Right? Is there anything to get in the way? Well, we know the clubs are not going to. Nobody's going to be over roughing my clubs because they have to have a bunch of them. Diamonds, could a diamond get roughed? Well, they have 7 of them, but West is long in clubs. Of course, he doesn't have very many spades either, so because there's only 2 out. So, anyways, that's that. We know where we're headed with this, and doesn't look like there's any disasters waiting. So I'm going to go ahead and play. And of course, I'll play the king of diamonds from the shorthand for 2 reasons. One, it looks very much like I want to rough clubs. So do I want to start right now, or do I want to pull those 2 trump that are out there? And I think that I'm going to pull the trump. And there's 2 different ways to do this. I can try to drop the king of spades, or I can finesse the king of spades. And I think that if I'm recalling correctly, the percentages are actually to try to drop the king of spades. Missing the king of spades, with 11 trump, you try to drop them. So I'd lead over to the ace, and hopefully the king will drop. I'm going to lead with the queen of spades just in case the East has the king and feels like they must cover it. And I didn't get that. So I had a spade loser. Didn't drop, percentages were against me. So now I can take out that last spade, and then I can go about my plan, right? All the pieces are still in place. They're leading a club, which is my plan was to rough two of these guys, so we're in pretty good shape here. I was going to rough two spades, and I was going to put one on the diamond, so I'll do that now. And rough the last club. So I started with a plan and I executed it, right? I didn't get lost, didn't get lost in the weeds, and knew exactly where I was headed. And that's why we make a plan, because it's far too easy, and I do it and I do it often. Where if I'm not certain of where I'm going, I generally don't get there unless it's given a lot of gifts. I generally play the hand badly if I don't start with a solid plan. But here, I had a plan. I said it in one sentence. I'm going to rough two clubs and I'm going to throw one club on a diamond. And that's exactly what we did. And of course, now all the rest of the tricks are good. Any questions? So here we go. Next hand. Um, 6, 8, 10, 12. Not a big hand this time. I just have this, but I got to open it with 12 and a 5 card suit. But I'm going to name this hand first. Okay. And what I would call this hand, this 5-3-3-2, is I would call it a balanced minimum. Okay. My response to a spade bid is one no trump, showing 12 to 14. So if my partner bids, I'm going to do my best to define my hand with my rebid. So unless they bid hearts, I'm going to bid one no trump, because that's what a balanced one no trump minimum is, 12 to 14 points. And that's what I have. And my partner gives me a splinter bid. This is a bid that promises an opening hand, promises a game going hand, and says that he has a stiff singleton or a void in diamonds, and he has at least 4 support in hearts. It's a slam try that's basically based on what you have in diamonds. So if I have, for instance, the 2, 3, and 4 of diamonds, 3 losers, I will know I only have 1 loser at the most in diamonds because he can rough the rest of them. And that means if our points are all concentrated in 3 suits, we can often get to a slam on fewer points. As low as 25, 26 points will still get you a slam if 10 of the points, the diamond points, don't matter. So I don't really have a slam going hand, right? I just had this minimum no trump, weak no trump hand. So I'm just going to bid 4 hearts and be happy. And count, count, count. Count the points, count the distribution, count your losers. I have 7, 8, 3, 11 points in North, and I have 12 points in my hand, so only 23 points. There are 17 points out against me, and I know East. East had a chance to open and did not open, right? So I know they have at least fewer than 12, 13 points. So they look to be relatively split in this hand. I would guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 8-8, around there. That's where I'm going to start until I see different. Counting the distribution, I see that I have 9 trump. That means there are 2 out. I mean, sorry, 4 out. Hopefully 2-2, but could be 3-1. But even if they're 3-1, I don't have any losers in hearts. Spade suit is really interesting. We have the robot who leads the king from ace king small. He'll lead the king. So I'm going to give West the ace of spades. So that's 7 of their potential 8 or 9 points, which means the rest of the points are likely to be in East's hand. Um, 4 diamonds is a splinter bid. It's a special bid that is actually a support bid. It's saying instead of bidding a long suit, they're actually bidding a stiff, or they're bidding a void. So it's a game-going hand with a stiff or void with at least 4 support for a major. And we call that a splinter bid. And they're very cool bids. I like them a lot. And they're basically used when you have a weak slam try. Okay, and you're just saying, you know, I got some things here. And he does, right? He has that sequence in spades, and he's got great hearts. Um, so if I didn't have any points in diamonds, I'd be excited about his splinter. But I actually have 6 points in diamonds, so I'm, you know, they're wasted here. I would prefer it if he was short in spades or short in clubs. But in any event, because I don't have much, I'm going to stay here. I just bid 4 hearts. In spades, I have, it's very interesting. He has the ace, I have the queen jack, and it looks like I'm actually going to have some spade winners in the dummy once he plays the ace of spades. The other thing, though, is because I have 4 and 7 of them, and that means there's 6 out. You know, there's also a chance that if he's 5, he's got 5 spades and didn't bid for some reason because he didn't have enough points, then they could be roughing on the 3rd round of spades. They have a ton of diamonds, right? And with a, you know, we can just assume, since nobody preempted or anything, that of those 10 diamonds, they're probably split pretty evenly. And then we have a club suit that has 7 in it with the king queen. So now I count my losers. I've looked at the points, I've looked at the distribution. Now I'm going to count my losers. In the heart suit, I don't have any losers, assuming that they're at least 3-1, right? If they're 4-1, there's not much I can do about it unless they're 4-1 in West. If they're 4-1 in West, then I can finesse it. But if they're 4-1 in East, then well, I guess I could finesse it there too. But the problem is I'm going to play the ace of hearts first. So we'll see. We're not going to count a loser, though, because if they're 3-1, we're safe. In spades, we have 2 losers. And the reason I can say we have 2 losers is because of the sequence. We have queen, jack, 10, 9, 8, right? Which means the only spade we can possibly lose is to the king and to the ace. So 2 losers. I don't have any diamond losers, right? The 6 of sorry. I have 1 diamond loser, the queen of diamonds, right? And I have 2 club losers. Because I have the sequence of the king queen, I know I will get at least 1 trick. So looking at the long hand, I have 2 club losers. So 2 clubs, a diamond, and 2 spades. 5 losers altogether. Now the next thing we do is we figure out how to get rid of our losers. And we can just go suit by suit. For instance, in spades, how do we get rid of our losers? Well, hopefully we just play a spade. You know, they win this spade and they win their ace and they give us the rest. That would be the sweetest part. But we could, if they switch, we could lead another spade after this, and we would grow up. We would promote all those spades in the dummy. So that's how we can't really get rid of any losers, but we can create some winners. In the diamond suit, obviously, we can get rid of a loser by roughing a diamond. Or, if we set up a spade, we could throw the diamond on that. But I think roughing might be the best idea with that one. And then the club suit is interesting. When you have this issue of like king 4th, queen 3rd, king 3rd, queen doubleton, you can get 2 tricks so long as they lead the clubs, right? Because you just duck in the first hand and then you win in the 4th hand, or you duck again if they play the ace. But the only way to get 2 tricks is to actually let them play the suit. So I'm not going to touch those clubs. I'm not going to touch those clubs unless I have to. And if I can set up the spades first, I'm going to start pitching clubs on the spades. All right, so that's what's going on. What can go wrong? Like I said, the one thing that I can see going wrong is that I don't get to grow up the spades because they start roughing them because they're 5-3. Sorry, because they're we have 7 because they're 4-2. That the 3rd round of spades, instead of us getting it, East will get it. So, anyways, that's about all I can see going wrong. Do I want to pull trump first? Well, the only one that I'm planning on trumping is the diamond, and I really see no reason not to go ahead and just get rid of that once they get in. But I'm really curious to see where they're going to switch to, and that might alter our plan a little bit. But the plan in my head as we start forward here is I'm going to rough diamond in the dummy, and I'm going to set up spades, a spade trick in the dummy to pitch a loser from my hand. So rough a diamond and pitch a loser on a winning spade. Now I can play kind of confidently, right? Unless something bad happens, because I know where I'm going. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Smart play there would have been to play the queen, um, so that I can get over to the dummy right away. But I think we're fine. So now here comes the club lead, and when we really are happy they let us a club. Now we get two tricks in club. So we got rid of one of our losers by virtue of them playing it, right? Now we only have now we have I mean we have one club loser. It's gone already. We no longer have the risk of two losers in clubs. And here comes the spade trick back. And this is where I'm worried about getting roughed. But instead they broke evenly, right? Spades were played 3 times. They had 6 and they followed each time. So now I have a winner in the winning jack of spades to pitch a loser on. I have the king and queen of clubs, and I can rough a diamond. So, other than pulling trump, this hand is over. So, I'm going to play the ace of hearts first. And now that they have both shown a heart, we know it's no worse than 3-1, which means the rest of the tricks are ours. I'll go ahead and play it out, but if I were playing at a club or in a tournament, I would claim at this point. We would have played 4 tricks, and the hand would be over. Turns out the hearts were 2-2, so they're all gone. And now with nothing but trump left, I can claim. All right, so simple and clean. That's what we're aiming for. All right, so I'm going to do one more, and then I think we're going to put some people in, and we'll just talk through it with other people trying to play it. Whoops. Oh, I see. Okay, so North opens the bidding 1 club, and I have and I'm going to name my hand right away, which is wonderful. I'll just call this hand wonderful. It's 5-5 in the majors, and then 2 small clubs and a diamond. I have ace king in both suits. I have tens and nines and jacks. This is a great hand. I've got 7, 8. Notice I haven't even counted the points yet. I'm just telling you it's a great hand. So you just know because of the controls that you have and the distribution. So, and that's the way I evaluate. And I don't. I've learned lots of evaluation systems, but I never use them. I never count. I never do losing trick count. I never do anything like that. I don't use K&R. I don't use Bergen. I don't use czar points. Um, I don't think it's necessary. If you think about how you're going to play your hand and what makes a good hand, you're going to know when you have a good one. 5-5 in the majors is a good hand, right? When you have these kind of cards. All right, so when we're 5-5, we bid the spades first. And they have 6 clubs. Partner has 6 clubs. Um, did not jump, so a minimum hand. So the rebid by openers let me know that they don't have 3 spades and they are unbalanced with length in clubs. They didn't jump, so they're probably limited to around 15 points. And now he bids no trump. So he's probably got a diamond stopper. He doesn't have three spades, and he doesn't have uh, four hearts. But I'm going to go ahead and show the hearts again. Right? This is a hand that, I just feel like I'd rather be playing in a suit, and he obliges by bidding four hearts. So count, count, and count. Counting the points, right? I had 7, 14, 15. Turns out he has 3, 7, and 5 is 12. So we have 27 points altogether, and there are 13 out. No one overcalled, so nobody has length and 8, 9 points. Especially East, it's easy to overcall that club. They didn't. Um, we do have 8 clubs. I thought that was correct, and he's got the king queen, which is a nice thing to have over there. And we go back to week 1 on that one and think about that king queen up there and how we can take advantage of it. In Trump, we have 8, so they have 5 of them. But we have the ace through the 9, so we're not going to lose any hearts. In the spade suit's interesting, right? Because I have 5 of them, and I have the ace king. Only a stiff over there. So I have 3 losers in spades, right? I win the ace king. And I guess we can make one more winner if we lead at the 10. If we don't play the 10 and an honor at the same time, that should give us one. So at least 2 losers there. No diamond losers by virtue of the fact that there's an ace there and I have a stiff. And you can't lose more tricks in a suit than you have in the long trump suit hand. And then I have a doubleton club and I've got a 6-card club suit. So now I need to make a plan on how to get rid of these losers. I've got 1 club loser, 2 spade losers, probably no heart losers. Actually, looks like I've got 10 tricks, right? Sometimes it's nice here when you figure out that you got 10 tricks to actually count your winners. So I have 5 winners in hearts, 6, 7 with the ace and king of clubs, and 9 with the ace of diamonds. Where's my 10th trick? There's 2 ways to get a 10th trick, right? I can lead at the king, queen of clubs and grow one of those up, and that would make a winner. And the other thing that I can do is I can ruff a spade. If I ruff a spade, that gives me an extra winner in the heart suit, right? If I get my 5 hearts in my hand and I could ruff one in the dummy, that means I'm getting 6 heart tricks. So I could get 6 heart tricks, 2 spades, the ace of diamonds, and the king of clubs. So I might even be thinking about trying to make 11 here. So what can go wrong? Well, I don't know that much can go wrong. I mean, if the hearts were drastically split 5-0, then that would make it hard to ruff a spade. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm not really seeing where the disaster is. I don't really want them to ruff a club. If I'm going to set up the king of clubs or the queen of clubs, I want to be able to. I might want to pull trump before we do that. Okay, so I got a spade trick there. Maybe it would have been smarter to lead at the 10, but I didn't. I thought about that earlier, but I forgot about it. But anyways, we got an extra heart trick. So now I can count my losers again. I got 1 club loser, and I have these 2 spade losers. So again, this hand is made. I only have 3 losers. This is the point, though, sometimes where you want to stretch, especially if you're playing match points. Get that extra trick might make a big difference. So how could I do that? Well, I could ruff a diamond coming back to get back my hand and then ruff another spade with the jack of hearts and then try to pull trump with the remaining. And then at the end, play up a club. Let's try that for fun. Let's see if we can squeeze out 11 tricks somehow. So they follow twice. That was the risky part of going for this extra trick. Playing imps, you generally don't take that risk. But when you play a club game and you're playing match points, sometimes you'd like to take a chance at, uh, at winning an extra trick. So let's see if we can set up a club after I pull the last trump. And East discarded the queen of spades for us. So now our two spades are good. So we're going to make 12 tricks. I think that 11 was a good play, but I think 12, getting 12 there was just getting lucky. And we want to thank the dummy for that. Okay, so you can see how we start with a clear plan, and that helps us as we navigate 13 tricks by keeping our plan in mind. We always have that plan. Okay, so why don't we get somebody to sit in south and let's play a few hands. And what I want to do is I want everybody to contribute. Here, I don't want the person in the hot seat to be all alone. So I'm going to be asking some questions, and everybody should be answering. Let's see if we can talk this through. I will need a volunteer. All right, so here we go. Let's get it. Everybody can still see only South's hand, right? Great. So everybody's in the same boat here. Why don't you go ahead and bid, Gene? Let's see what we can get to. How would we name this hand if we were going to name this hand? I know it sounds silly to name your hand, but I'm just a big believer in this. I mean, we got 9, 10, 16, 18, 20 points. We have a maximum hand, right? And it's unbalanced. It's a two-suited hand. So I would say, oh, this is a maximum two-suited hand with spades and hearts. And with the maximum hand, that means we know against opposite a minimum hand, a maximum hand knows they're going to the game. The only question is whether with this fine hand, Jean wants to fumble around a little bit, see if she can get the robot to help her bid slam, if it's there. We've got trump agreement, and as far as North knows, all Jean has is an opening hand. And the robots play a special little gimmick here. Probably, I'd say it's an advanced convention. And what two no trump is it's showing that somewhere, partner, I have shortage. Does that make a difference to you that I have shortage someplace? And remember, North is still looking for game, doesn't know yet that Gene might be looking for slam. And the robot says, yeah, well, maybe that does make a difference to me, and bids 3 clubs. And the 3 clubs bid says, why don't you show me where your short suit is? So, of course, Gene shows the diamonds, and that doesn't do anything for North, who just bids 3 spades. And now Gene's probably can give up her slam try and just bid game. And we can see why. It only 6 points in North's hands. So we have 26 points altogether. That's the first count. Second count is distribution. Can we figure anything out about the hand? We definitely count the trump suit all the time, but maybe there's another suit we're interested in. Yeah, we're counting losers. Queen Jack 10, right? That gives us that sequence of three cards gives us two winners, right? So we have the ace on top of that. So we are only missing one heart loser, which is the king of hearts. How about club losers? Notice this is one of those, this club suit is the one, just like I mentioned before. We could only win one club. The king queen only guarantees us one club. But if the opponents happen to lead clubs, we have a chance at getting two. So with suits like this, I really don't like to lead them unless, I get down to the end and I have to be the one to lead it, right? Or if I only need one trick and I'd be happy, I'll play the king knowing I win the queen then. But the rest of the time, I like that suit. I like the opponents to bid it because maybe we'll get two tricks on it. But as we sit here right now, we have one winner, which means we have two club losers. One guaranteed winner in clubs because we have the king queen, but two club losers otherwise. And diamonds, we have one loser. So one diamond loser, two club losers, a heart loser, and assuming that the spades break decently, 3-2 here, right? We won't have a spade loser. But I think we should count for 4-1. 4-1 is not the disaster hand. 5-0 is the disaster hand. So I think it's like we might want to think about the fact that the jack spades might be out there lurking to win a trick. Next thing we want to think about is what kind of is there any potential disaster we've got? Next thing we have to think about is how do we get rid of our losers. So and I'd really like to do that suit by suit. So if we wanted to get rid of a heart loser, how could we do it? And sometimes there's multiple ways. Any ideas on how to get rid of a heart loser? Sure, we could ruff, but we're still going to lose a heart before we do that, right? We could play the ace of hearts, but then we are missing the king. That might be the way to do it. We could finesse, right? And then we're not so much getting rid of a loser, but instead we're sort of creating a winner. So one way to get rid of a heart loser would be to lead at the ace queen jack. Right? We're going to finesse east of the king, and if east has the king, then we got rid of a loser, and that's the only way to really do it. So in hearts, to not lose a heart, we would have to finesse. Um, how about in diamonds? Is there any way to avoid losing a diamond there? It's good to be thinking about the entry there for the finesse. Maybe this lead will help us there, or maybe playing the queen of diamonds. Well, the queen of diamonds won't help. So no way to get rid of the diamond loser. We're probably going to lose at least a club, but at least we got a club lead, which is better for us. And we would somehow have to finesse. Is there another way to take the finesse without going to the Norse hand? Sure, if you could, if you can't get there, you could lead at the 10. And if West has the king and ducks it, then you'd win the 10, and then you would be back in business. But I doubt they would duck the king. But all right, so a plan. I think the plan is we hope the spades split. Otherwise, we're going to lose the jack. We want to get somehow to North's hand for a finesse. And in the clubs, we're hoping that East goes up with the ace here and gives us two winners. And if he does that, if they play the ace, then we take the king and the queen and ruff a club. So there's a lot of work to be done. Is there a chance we can get a winner in the dummy? Yeah, in diamonds, but as as Leslie said, we got an entry problem. Why don't you go ahead? So our plan is to try to finesse the king of hearts. We're hoping that the ace of clubs gets played here, um, and uh, and we're going to go with that. Okay, so that didn't get played, which unfortunately means that we win this one, and we're going to have to lose the king, but we will be able to get a ruff in clubs. How could we use a ruff in the clubs? Yeah, unfortunately, they might be roughing them. Spades break badly. You watch them play here, right? They followed once, so they're 4-1. So we're going to lose the jack of spades. And here comes the finesse we were completely dependent upon now. How do we take the finesse here? That was the proper way. But they managed to get 4 losers off of us. Actually, an extra one too here. Okay, so that was a rough one. That was a rough one. Gene, why don't you get up and let me see if we can take another stab at it. Okay, so Gene had a much worse lead. I'm gonna sit in for Robot and give her the club lead again. So the 10 of clubs looks interesting to us, right? Because we're hoping that we can assume the ace is in East hand, and we're hoping to get 2 club tricks. And I may have even been too optimistic on that. But there might be another thing that's happening that's important here, um, which is if we go up with the king right now, we're going to be able to ruff a club. If king will lose, we'll play the queen, hopefully win, and then we'll be able to ruff a club. And that will get rid of a club loser for sure. Our problem is I think it was Leslie pointed out, is we really don't have any entries to North's hand. And and um, and we very well might want an entry because there's a king of diamonds up there that we can pitch on. Just curious to see what happens if we go ahead and lose the king. And lose the queen. Now let's see what happens. Well, they got 2 tricks, and this is going to go down not as much, but um, we're going to have the same problem with the spades. So I'm not going to. We won't. I mean, we could try to finesse the jack of clubs, but I think we'd only be doing that because we know it's there. All right, so here we go. We have no more heart losers. Unfortunately, we have this problem with the spades, which is going to cause us to go down one. But you can see how we've kind of manipulated things here so that hopefully we're not losing a club. And we didn't. So now we don't have a club loser. The hearts are all good, and now we just have to somehow pull trump. And of course, we're going to discover that that doesn't work. So hard to stay out of game here. Really hard to stay out of game here. But but if we have a plan, we can kind of work our way through it. A tough hand. Sorry about that, Gene. I threw you in on a real rough one. One I don't that is going to be almost impossible to make, I think. All right, let's get somebody else in there. Everybody's scared to sit now after everybody's scared. Oh, here we go. And that was a pretty hard hand. All right, here's the next one. Maybe it won't be so ridiculous. All right, so name the hand. Right, this is I would call this an invitational, right? 17 points, maybe even a game-going hand because of that spade. Certainly after they bid spades, I want to be at game. Doesn't really matter though because my partner jumped straight to four hearts, and it's very difficult to bid over the four hearts because that'll be a fairly weak bid. Although here's 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points, so just decided we should be in game. So take a look at the distribution. Take a look at the lead. Count up your losers. How many losers do you have left? Oh, we have to have a plan first. You have to say your plan before you start. So you have to count your losers and then say how you're going to make the hand. Do you have any heart losers? 2 losers in diamonds. Yeah. Well, actually, you have 4 losers in diamonds, but the key is going to be how to get rid of 2. Yeah, there's 4 to start, but when we make our plan, we're going to figure out a way to get rid of 2 of them, which looks like Ken J has already moved on to that part. Any club losers? Yeah, I'll go with that. 1 spade, 4 diamonds. How do we get rid? Nothing we can do about the spade losers. So how do we get rid of diamond losers? A couple different ways to do it, right? Yeah, I agree. That's the most obvious one right off the bat, right? Is that they're giving us 2 winners in the dummy, and we need to get rid of 2 losers in the diamond suits. So seems like a marriage. All right. So is there anything that can go wrong? I mean, I guess the spades could be wildly split, right? And when you go to play I mean, they've got 9 of them, right? And you're going to want to pitch on the second and third play, so that basically they'd have to be split 7-2. I think we would have heard something from West if he had 7 spades, something more than two spades. He probably would have bid more, right? Yeah. Yep. And actually, since he bid, notice the auction. Go back to the auction and see he bid 2 spades. Right, that's a weak jump shift. So you can actually give him 6. Yep, 6-3. If you've been playing the counting game, you go 6-3-3-1, right? It just trips off your tongue, like the words to a '70s pop song. Um, So it seems unlikely that it seems like our plan's gonna work just fine. Do we want to pull trump first? Not really any reason to, is there? I mean, it seems like our spades are gonna be fine. Is there a way to make an extra trick? I mean, we got the weird thing is we have the ace, king, queen, and we're blocking the club suit. So I can't help wondering if there's not a trick there. But anyways, our plan is to pitch 2 diamonds on the spades. So go ahead and get started. Here's a little tip. This is like a player's tip here. I'm going to distract Leslie. This is mean. But when we hold a sequence in our hand, the hidden hand, like the ace, king, queen there, what you want to do is win with the ace of clubs. Because that will leave west and east uncertain as to where the king and queen are. Just a little playing tip. Doesn't matter at all to the robots. But to real people, it would confuse them. Pitches a diamond on a winner and the dummy. Right? One of the primary ways to get rid of them. Discard a loser from the hand on a winner in the dummy. And there we go. We got rid of 2 of them. So now we can just look at this hand and say, okay, what kind of losers do we have here? Right? We have 2 diamond losers. Everything else is winning, assuming the trump are going to split, right? I guess they have to. We had ace, king, queen, 10. So now what? She's going to cross back to her hand. Actually, she didn't yet. She just played the winner there. They didn't follow anyways, as it turned out. So the hearts were split 4-1. But we're safe, right? We were always able to cover 4. Remember, you have 2 diamond losers. Can you really afford to lose another one? If you play the king of clubs and East roughs, plays 2 diamonds, you're down. Okay, so we're going to give him the diamonds. And there we are, making 10. Now, that's well done. Well done. And notice that when we have a plan, right? When we make a plan, then we're happening. We can just bang right through it without thinking about it too much even. We know what we're looking for. I think Leslie was trying to figure out a way to unblock that club suit. The way to do it would have been to lead back to your hand, lead a heart to your hand, right? And then try to play the clubs. But you run into the same exact problem: is that the clubs are going to get roughed out if they're unbalanced, and the hand that is out of clubs has the trump. So I think the safe way to play this hand was just the way you did it. To play over, pitch the 2 diamonds right away, pull trump, win your ace, king, queen of clubs. Life is good. You lose 2 diamonds. Who's next? We have time for one more hand. Somebody want to jump in? Could be another easy one. That one was much easier to play than the one we gave poor Gene. Thank you, Jeanette. If we were to name this hand, not Rover or Spot, but if we were to name it by its shape and its range, what would we call it? Yeah, I think it's two suited, but it's 2-2. It's in between there somewhere. Maybe a semi balanced, but definitely medium. So when your partner bids two hearts, which is a minimum response, I'm not sure it's medium. I think 14. I'm not impressed with the jack two of spades. I like the fact that my honors are concentrated in two suit. That's really good. But I would say it's a good minimum hand. I probably wouldn't bid here. I would pass this. King with the Jack 10-9 is awful nice because as we've seen, the fact that we have a sequence. Yeah, I think it's really 13 points exactly. We have two doubletons, which may be good, right? They've gotten better now that we have a bid from North. But on the other hand, North is basically promising us 8 or 9 points tops. Okay. Janet's going to go for it. So she bids 3 hearts as an invitation, and we get to 4. So we're going to need to pull in. We can only lose 3. So count. First, the points. What did our partner promise us, like a minimum hand, but came up with an interesting spade suit, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 points. So our partner was definitely interested once you invited. We got an 8-card spade suit. That's fun. All and should have winners in the dummy with those. Okay, so we got 1 spade loser. We have 1 diamond loser, and we have 2 clubs. So to make this contract, we just need to get rid of 1 loser. That's all. 1 stinking loser will do it. And it's obviously not going to be a diamond loser. Going to pitch a club on what? We're trying to get rid of losers in our hand. Finesse and spades would get rid of 1. There we go. So there's the answer in spades. We could take a finesse, hoping to find the king of spades. There's an answer for 1. If we're wrong, though, it'd be nice to have another plan. Oh, did okay, yeah. So okay, I forgot about that. Yeah. So the problem is that the problem with pitching a club is if you're pitching a club from North's hand on a winning diamond, what is it that you're really up to, right? You're not pitching a loser from your hand on a winner in the dummy. What you'd actually be doing is shortening the club suit in the dummy so that you would only have 1 loser. You could then ruff a club if you were able to get away with being able to throw away a club on a winning diamond. So we got the finesse and spades. got 5-2, so there's 7. Potential for some disaster there. Yeah, they got 7 of them. 6, they got 7 of them. If they're 5-2, that means that the third round of diamonds would be getting roughed. So that's an interesting thing. I don't know. I'm seeing some problems in trying to have only 3 losers here. So they switched to clubs, so they're going to take their 2 club winners now too. I tried to convince you it was a minimum hand, but you didn't believe me. All right, we'll see. This one might get roughed. Oh, I didn't. That's right. You didn't hear me arguing. There were people who disagreed with me in the kib box. Some people liked it better than I did. So that's okay. You know, we overbid a lot and we underbid a lot and we make lots of mistakes. It's a game of mistakes. But playing the cards is always the same thing. You want to get all the tricks you can. Maybe there'll be a bunch of people who overbid like you, but you were the one who managed to bring it in 1 down. And then you get a top. Life is good. And here is the fateful spade finesse. It's this or nothing. And unfortunately, the king is offsides. But that was exactly how to play it. You played it perfectly. So, you know, I always do this to myself when I'm getting bad scores and stuff. I always look to see, yeah, well, maybe we got a 0, but did I play it good? You know, was it the problem with my play? All right, so that's a little over an hour. I've got a few more hands that I had prepared for us for this. I think what I'll do is I'll send you the movie of what we did here on these hands, and then I'll just play the other ones real fast later on, and I'll send a separate movie with those hands just so you could see them and and think through them. With that, we're done for play right now in this course. And next week we're going to talk a little bit more about how to evaluate our hands, the things to look for. It'll be fun. Bidding, you know, if there's any fault with my game, is it's that I spent too much. Well, there's a lot of fault with my game. If there was any fault with my approach to the game, it was that I spent too much time learning about bidding and conventions and gadgets before I actually learned how to play the hand. And the thing about it is if you know how to play the hand, then you know how to play the hand, then suddenly you know how to bid the hand because suddenly you're seeing the things that make your hand good. You're seeing those sequences of small honors. Red Hat, send me your email and I'll send it to you. Here, let me put my email down there. Yeah, if you haven't been getting materials and you want them, email me. I'll put you on the list. And so between now and next Wednesday, we'll have the movie from today, which I managed to do this time. I will do another short movie with the other 6 hands that I'd found for us to work on. I'll do those and make a movie for that. And then I'll have some materials on bidding. It's going to be a little bit harder, but I'll figure out a way to do it so we can talk about it. Just some basics on bidding. I think we'll send in the prep sheet. Um, and maybe by Tuesday I got my act together and I will send you some hands where I'm just talking about evaluating them. All right. If there's a book you want to check out between now and then that is really good, one of the best bridge books ever, is by Dorothy Truscott. And I'm having a little senior moment, and I'm not remembering the name of the book. If you look up Dorothy Truscott, it's How to Play Better Bridge. It's something like that, but it's an excellent, excellent, excellent book. And has a evaluation system that's more like I use, which is what is it that's good about my hand? And yes, and it's a wonderful book. All right, so until next week, thanks everybody, and you did really good work again, and I really appreciate how hard you guys are, the time you're putting into this. This is fabulous, and we'll see you later.